Hi, I'm Michelle Koppel. I'm an enrolled agent specializing in the ERC. So I wanted to tell you how I go about qualifying people for the ERC. So the IRS doesn't actually get the forms that prove that you are qualified. This is something that has to be done to protect you from audit. So in other words, 3 years down the line, if you get audited and the IRS says you didn't qualify for the ERC, you've got to give the money back with penalties. And because it's payroll taxes, it's very high penalties. So the due diligence that we perform is to, first of all, very first step is to make sure you qualify for the ERC. Now, almost everyone qualifies, but it's a very important step to take. So the first thing that I do is I start having an interview with the client. What does your business do? Where are you located? How was it restricted? And because I have a lot of familiarity with the laws, I kind of know where to go from there. Now, what have I done in the back end of this is that I have researched the laws and continue to research the laws and how they apply. So let's take, for example, um, here's California. So this is only one of the orders from California. One of the places I generally start is I'll go to the website for the governor of the state and I'll start reading the executive orders. It's very important that the executive orders are actually orders and not suggestions. So this is California's blueprint for a safer economy. And very clearly it says that you can open up with modifications. So in one of these, it's, okay, if you look here, it's in open indoors with modification shopping centers, 25% capacity. That is a partial suspension for anybody who has a business in a shopping center. So then later it was 50%. It's still a suspension. So a lot of these stores were very clearly suspended in their activity and that they could not be open. Now, every state has different rules. When I went over to, this is Tennessee, so they were open, but what's interesting is you really have to look at the words. Some of the words are like, if you see this at the top, strongly encouraged. That is not an order. That portion right there where it says it's strongly encouraged, that is not an order. It must be an order. So it's very important that we go through this exercise of getting all of the laws. Now, the laws can come from any authority because remember, the way that this original law was written, or the law from the CARES Act, was that any governing authority that restricted your business in terms of travel, meeting, or commerce qualifies you for the ERC as long as there's a 10% reduction in your ability to function. So who are these authorities? And you start to have to get into the business as well. Some health departments, or almost every county has a health department that got involved in this. If you go to the executive orders of a governor, you can see sometimes they gave that authority to a special group that they enacted that was for fighting COVID. And then you have to go to that website. You have to read through all of the orders. Now, I've had attorneys, and when I talked to them about their business, they couldn't go to the jails and meet with their clients. And this happened to be very specific to this client. So where did those orders come from? From the Chief Justice of the state of California. Now, something I would not have known existed because I'm not an attorney, but there are many such entities that could be giving governmental orders that would apply to this law. So their clients in I don't know how you say it, cosmetics and all of that, cosmetology, I believe it is. And they were ordered, they couldn't do certain practices and they were ordered they'd lose their license if they did. And so there are many places where there are many governing bodies, I should say, that could apply to different businesses that we may not realize. A lot of the places I start, like I said, is reading the executive orders on the governor's website for that state, and if that's where the activity is being carried on within the state. After that, I will go into also where they're conducting business. For example, many people do conventions in Las Vegas. So, if you're just doing a little thing, it may not really qualify, but there are certain businesses where you've got to have hands-on to see the latest development in some kind of electronic device or something that they're producing and manufacturing, and it's necessary that they meet people on a person-to-person basis at a convention. and they attend these regularly and have pre-COVID, they were attending these and demonstrating their products. So then I start to look at Nevada laws to see, well, what happened in Nevada? Did they limit participation? It cannot be that a convention voluntarily said, due to COVID, we're not going to have this convention this year. It has to be an order. This is what I'm trying to get across to you, that what I have to do is tie together how your business functioned, how it was suspended, and how that ties to an exact order. Cannot be a suggestion. It has to be an order that restricted your business. And again, it only has to be a 10% restriction. You don't have to have lost money. You don't have to prove it financially. It's not a 10% financial suspension. It's, well, you couldn't have as many people in the grocery store, or you couldn't meet to demonstrate your products. So all of these things were, they were restricted by different laws, from health authorities, from special groups, from it could be, there could be many. There just are many. And depending on the business, that's where I start to investigate what other laws limited their business. So for me, that is absolutely step one, that I make sure that I have documented, that I have saved these laws. I've saved my documentation on how the business was suspended before I even start any form of calculation. And then there's a lot of other calculations as well. But number one, very first step, is qualify the client. The IRS does not do this. This is not their job. Their job is only to process the forms. So don't expect them to be doing it. That is our responsibility to look at those laws, to see how it fits in with your business, to justify internally that you qualify for the ERC. Now, when would this come up? If 3 years down the line you get audited, I'm going to be sure to have all that documentation that's been set aside that I've done that proved that they qualified. So it's a very important step. It's the first step that I take. Please send me your questions on what you want to know about the ERC. This is Michelle Koppel. I'm an enrolled agent specializing in the employee retention tax credit. Thanks.